Start. Welcome back guys. Now let's begin with the CNS, central nervous system. See, in this central nervous system we'll be starting from the basics. Okay, the divisions of the nervous system, what are the different types of sensations, how the sensations are going to the brain and how the brain is going to respond. Okay, everything we'll discuss. Let's start with the divisions. Nervous system is mainly divided into two parts. Central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, everyone knows. What's the difference between central nervous system and peripheral nervous system anatomically? Central nervous system includes your brain and spinal cord. Okay. Then peripheral nervous system includes your cranial nerves. How many? 12 pairs of cranial nerves are there, and spinal nerves. How many spinal nerves? 31 pairs of spinal nerves are there. Now, what is the difference between the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system? Anatomically, they are different. The central nervous system is including the brain and spinal cord, and peripheral nervous system is including the cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Let me be more specific to you. Guys, look at here. Whatever you are seeing here in the central part of your body, the brain and the spinal cord, this is your central nervous system, guys, which is like a computer. Okay, it receives the information, it will understand, it will process, and it will give the output. So, the brain along with the spinal cord is the central nervous system. Okay. Then what about the peripheral nervous system, which is including the cranial nerves and spinal nerves? You can very clearly see from the spinal cord who is coming out. From the spinal cord, the spinal nerves are coming out, right? 31 pairs of spinal nerves are there. And from the brain stem, if you see, here in this region of the brain is specifically called as the brain stem. Here you can see these cranial nerves, 12 pairs of cranial nerves will be there. Okay, you can very clearly see these are the cranial nerves. So cranial nerves, 12 pairs are there. What they are doing? What is the function of this cranial nerve and what is the function of the spinal nerve? What exactly they are doing? We know cranial nerves are originating from the brain stem and the spinal nerves are originating from the spinal cord. But what they are doing? Okay, let me tell you. For that, you need to understand this diagram. See here, I am showing you, let's say here is a brain. Okay, here is the brain. And down to the brain, here I am showing the brain stem. Let's say here is a brain stem which includes midbrain, pons, and medulla. Here is the medulla. Okay, midbrain, pons, medulla, which includes the brain stem. Now, the medulla is going to continue as the spinal cord. So, here is the spinal cord. Now, whatever I am showing you here, let's say this is the central nervous system, guys. Here is the central nervous system. Of course, it's not looking exactly like a central nervous system, but try to understand. Here are the two cerebral hemispheres. These are the two cerebral hemispheres. Down here is the brain stem, and brain stem through the foramen magnum. Through the foramen magnum, it is continuing as the spinal cord. Okay, fine. Now, let me draw a spinal nerve here. Okay, here is the spinal nerve. We all know there are 31 pairs of spinal nerve, but here I am showing you one spinal nerve. What is the spinal nerve doing? Let me tell you. See, here is the spinal nerve. What is the spinal nerve doing? Here I am drawing my skin. Let's say here is my skin. When someone is coming and touching my skin, okay, someone comes and stimulates, touch. What is the stimulus I am talking about? Touch. Someone is coming and touching my skin. See, this touch is the mechanical energy, guys. See, someone is coming and touching here. This is energy. It's a mechanical energy, mechanical thing. Can I feel it or not? Yes, I am feeling it. So, what exactly is happening? So, this mechanical energy will be taken by the receptors here. My skin is full of receptors. So, in my skin, who is there? There is going to be a receptor. Now, that receptor is activated. That receptor is going to take this mechanical energy and convert this mechanical energy into something electrical. So, what I am trying to say, see, this receptor, it is attached with a neuron. What this neuron is doing, it is taking this information. So, try to understand, guys, whenever someone is coming and touching you, what the receptors are doing, the receptors are going to take that mechanical energy, and this receptor, what is the function of the receptor? The function of the receptor is to convert the mechanical energy into electrical energy. So, energy can neither be created nor destroyed, it only changes the forms, right? So, the mechanical energy, whatever we are giving, the mechanical energy will be taken by the receptor, and the receptor is going to convert that mechanical energy into electrical impulses, electricity. So, now this information, touch information is now going through this neuron, this green color neuron. Okay, now this green color neuron, it is taking this information where? Finally, it is going to take this information to the brain. It is going to take the information to the brain. So, here in the brain, you will feel the touch. You will feel touch. So, someone is coming and touching you. So, actually you are not feeling over here. You are not feeling the sensation over here. You are actually feeling it in your brain. You might be thinking that I can feel the sensation here. No. Here you are receiving the information, and that information is actually felt in the brain, guys. Okay. Now, you tell me, what is this neuron? doing? It is taking the sensation towards the brain. So, do you call it as a sensory neuron or motor neuron? What do you call it? Is it a sensory type of neuron or motor neuron? It is taking the sensation, right? It is taking the sensation towards the brain. So, yes, these are sensory neurons. So, these green color neuron, it's a sensory neuron. Okay, it's a sensory neuron. You can also call sensory neurons as afferents. Okay, afferents. What are afferents? Afferents are arriving. They are taking the information to the brain, like arriving to the brain, arrival. Okay, afferents. Now, finally, what happened? You felt, okay, someone is coming and touching on your body. So you felt that touch sensation. So you have to respond, right? Your brain will understand. Okay, someone is coming and touching. Okay, your brain, now you are going to look at the person and you will understand who is touching and where he is touching, what is his intention. You will all understand. So you have to give a response. Either you have to give him a hug, or you have to give him a slap, you have to kick him, you have to give a response, right, at the end of the day. For response, what is required? Imagine you have to give him a slap. For that response, you need to contract your musculature, you need to do this movement, right? For that, motor neurons are required. So from the brain, which neurons are starting now? Now this neuron, it is coming down and it is coming like this, and where it is going? See, it is going to the muscles. What it will do to the muscles? It will cause a muscle contraction. It will cause a muscle contraction. So now tell me, what do you think this blue color neuron is doing? See, these blue color neurons, okay, these blue color neurons, do you think they are sensory or motor? They are motor, they are helping in the movement, they are helping in the movement, they are helping in the response. So these blue color neurons, they are motor neurons. Okay, motor neurons. From where the motor neurons are arising? From the cortex. From the cortex, the motor neurons are arising. Now these motor neurons, tell me, are they ascending up or are they descending down? They are descending down, guys. Sensory neurons are ascending up, they are taking the information towards the brain. But what about the motor neurons? They are taking the information out of the brain. Okay, they are helping in the response. These motor neurons are also called as efferents. Means they are exiting out. Okay, they are exiting out. One is arriving in, other is exiting out. Okay, one is ascending up, other is descending down. So with this concept in mind, now you tell me, sir, here I am showing you a spinal nerve. What is the function of the spinal nerve? Okay, what is the function of the spinal nerve? So the spinal nerves contains both the sensory neurons as well as the motor neurons. Information is going towards the central nervous system and coming out of the central nervous system. Imagine this is a spinal nerve. Okay, out of the 31 pairs of spinal nerves, imagine this is one spinal nerve. So what do you think? What do you think the spinal nerve is having? If you cut open the spinal nerve, inside the spinal nerve, you can see hundreds of sensory neurons going towards the brain and hundreds of motor neurons coming out of the brain. Okay. So tell me, your spinal nerves, are they sensory in nature or motor in nature? Your spinal nerves, are they sensory or motor? Your spinal nerves are both sensory and motor. That's why they are called as a mixed nerves. All the spinal nerves, they are mixed in nature because they contain both sensory as well as motor neurons. So that is what I have written over here. So look, sensory neurons. Okay, sensory neurons are sensory nervous system. They are also called as afferents. They are always ascending up. They are taking the information towards the brain, ascending up. They are also called as ascending tracts. They are acting like input to the brain. They are giving the information to the brain. First, you have to give the input. And what about the motor neurons? Motor neurons are efferents. They are taking the information out of the central nervous system. They are descending tracts. They are coming out, right? They are descending tracts and they are acting as output. So first you have to give the input, your brain will understand, it will process and it will give the output, and output is going to be helping in response. So there are afferents and there are efferents. So afferents and efferents are coming out of the central nervous system with the help of this spinal nerves. Now you understand? So from today, if someone is coming and touching you, the information is going to the spinal cord and the information is coming out of the spinal cord with the help of the spinal nerves. So spinal nerves are acting like a roads on which the cars are moving. Some cars are going in one direction, some cars are going in the opposite direction. You know, on a highway, cars on one side are going in one direction, on the other side going in the opposite direction. In the same way, see, these spinal nerves, some neurons are taking the information to the central nervous system and some neurons are taking the information out of the central nervous system. Okay, so that's the concept, guys. If you understand this, now let me explain you about the structure of the spinal cord in the next video. Hope the video is helpful. Thank you.